I'm Tracy.
And I'm Sharon, and we are Feet of Clay.
Confessions of the Cult Sisters. Oh, so Sharon, as we talked about in our last episode, which was episode 49.
Yep.
We talked about everything that's going on in our lives, which we're not going to go back into in this episode. But long story short is I ended up taking a much longer break from social media than that I thought I needed and that I thought I was going to do.
Well, you needed it. You did need it.
Did need it. I needed it so much. And so I don't know what's changed, but in these last couple weeks, like, okay, I'm ready to get back into it. So
I know what it is.
What is
Troy and Brian sent a message. They've been praying for us.
They've been praying for us to come back.
They've been worried about us. You know, we have this group messaging, and every once in a while they're like, "Sisters, are you okay?" And I told them, "Okay, guys, start praying because we might be recording on Sunday." And this was, a few days ago that we were supposed to record, Tracy, but then, I got busy with we're doing wedding decoration planning because our kids are getting married. And I had worked on the prep for the episode, part 2 of Steve Greisen's sex crimes. And I just was, it's just so slimy and awful. And I'm like, I just don't even want to keep working on this. So I bailed on us. And, but they were praying, and that sometimes God answers prayers in different ways. So we don't get what we asked for. We get something better, right? And so I kind of think that's what happened. And all right, Tracy, now you talk.
Yeah. So now I get to talk. So while on break, we received a message through our Instagram message. So as I got back in and started organizing the messages and really needing to get back with some people, there was a message waiting for us. And
wait, when did you just read that this last week or something?
I just read that in the last week and a half, I think.
Oh, wow.
So without making it more mysterious, let me just read what the message said. Quote, I worked with Steve Greisen for 4+ years and only just discovered this happened back in September. I immediately quit, but I was working with him at the time of his arrest. I'm available for comments or questions. And that was it.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
And so I immediately reached out and then arranged a phone call. And I had wished I had recorded the phone call. And folks, I'm going to tell you that you're not going to miss out on it because this person has graciously agreed to come on our podcast and tell the story that I got to hear a couple of days ago. And so I'm going to introduce her.
Well, wait, because I haven't heard this. I have not. I just want people to know you have been mysterious and you just basically told me you got to hear it. And you told me nothing more. And so everything here, I'm hearing for the first time too.
Yes. I was going to also say that after I introduced her so she doesn't have to sit waiting in the wings, but thank you. So welcome. And we're going to probably say it wrong. And I don't know why this is so hard for us. Karisten. Did I say it right?
Karisten, yes.
Yes.
Karisten. Woo-hoo-hoo.
So welcome. Thank you so much for giving of your time. I'm going to let you kind of tell us why you're so busy and why this is such a great gift to us that you're willing to set aside this time and do this with us. And so to build on what Sharon was saying, Sharon hasn't heard any of this story. I had the conversation. I haven't wanted to give too much of, all of the details because I was, Karisten, you're such a good speaker. You have an ability to really tell the story. So we're going to try to sit back and say, can you introduce yourself to the audience and why you reached out to us? And then as we have questions, we'll pepper them. But we're going to try to let you basically do some without losing some of your train of thought.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So my name is Karisten, and I am a mother to 4 children. I have 3 boys, and then my last is a little girl. And my oldest 2 sons, they're very special. They're nonverbal, have severe autism. and
wow.
a bunch of medical issues.
Wow.
So I'm a fairly busy person.
You are. And
Yeah.
because I think if you haven't listened to a lot of ours, you may not know, but both Sharon and I have 5 kids each.
Yes.
So we definitely feel you. And again, thank you so much for clearing the deck to be able to come on here, because it's really hard
Yes.
with 4 kids.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you guys having me, and they're pretty much awesome anyways. Yeah. So basically, right now I live in Minnesota, but about 5 years ago, I lived in Colorado Springs. And my mom had just unfortunately passed away. And I really just kind of needed something to do. We needed some extra funds. And so I started looking for a part-time job.
Sure.
I needed something to be flexible so I could do what I needed to with my older sons.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across an ad on Indeed for an administrative assistant for Exploration Films. I did my interview and was hired like an hour later.
Who did you interview with?
I did the interview with Steve Greisen and then my coworker, Stephen Penn. So during this story, there'll be Steve and Stephen. Steve is Steve Greisen, and Stephen then will be said coworker.
Okay.
The 3 of us pretty much made up the company. So there was really nobody else that worked immediately with us, unless it was like an outside producer, manufacturer, so on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the 3 of us. And the work was actually done in Steve's basement. So he had some desks set up, and we would basically go to his house every day, walk around the back, and then work in his basement.
I've been in that basement,
Mm-hmm.
been in the house. Yep. I know exactly where you were. Yeah.
Yep. So my desk was essentially attached to his, so we would be looking at each other.
Wow.
And so I got hired on as his administrative assistant for Exploration Films, which, if nobody's familiar, Exploration Films is essentially a company that manufactures and produces films. We basically buy the rights to these films so that we can sell physical DVDs and then also digital access as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for a while, doing a lot of admin work, answering all of the emails and phone calls, inventory, all of that.
Can I just make a note for our listeners? Exploration Films, I can't remember the exact tagline, but it's basically about having strong Christian faith and values.
Yes,
so all
correct.
the material is to promote the Christian worldview.
It's a very Christian-based company. It's supposed to be strictly family-centered, family-friendly, and faith-based above all else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as I was getting hired, actually, we were kind of starting the blueprints for opening a streaming platform. So kind of like Netflix, but it was going to be called ExploreFlix.
Mm-hmm.
So ExploreFlix was basically going to be the streaming platform where we got a bunch of content and a bunch of agreements with films like The Chosen from Angel Studios.
Mm-hmm.
And, we launched this platform. So we had Exploration Films, which was like the parent company for ExploreFlix.
Okay.
So, I'm doing all of the books and communication for Exploration Films. And now I'm doing the same for ExploreFlix.
Mm-hmm.
And I was discussing how I got hired on basically at $16 an hour.
Wow.
And from there, I but by the end of everything, I was only making $19 an hour. And that
Wow.
was every time I was asking him specifically for a raise. And it was a conversation, and it was always kind of uncomfortable. So on top of doing everything for those two companies, which also included like royalties, which are really complicated. And, we have hundreds of producers or companies that we work with that we pay royalties to. So it's important, there's a lot of people that are expecting these large payments, and important people, not just Angel Studios, but HarperCollins is another really popular kind of publisher. And we can cut them checks, for $25,000 each quarter or more sometimes. And, so I know I'll kind of get into that in a little bit, but the naivety that these companies are under is just kind of gross. But yeah, so, I'm doing both of these companies, and on the side, Steve has a lodge. This is the same lodge that they have in the video for First Love. It's up in the mountains of Colorado Springs. And Steve rents that out all the time on like Vrbo and Airbnb. So I started doing all of the books for that.
I've stayed at their mountain lodge several times as well. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he, brings in a decent amount from that. It's a pretty expensive property to rent out. And then kind of coming in this last year of 2023, Steve decided to go in with a couple of his friends and buy a yacht in Cabo.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So,
wait, slow down. A yacht in where?
This will come up later, but this was after the arrest.
Oh, fuck.
He bought a yacht in Cabo.
In Cabo?
In Cabo.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
And basically the goal here is to have this, yachting company that does, high-end, expensive yacht trips.
Family friendly, of course, right?
Family friendly. Yes. There's like a chef on board and everything. Well, I took on all of the responsibilities of that as well.
Wait, as long as your family doesn't have a 14-year-old girl, sure, it'll be friendly.
Tell me about it. And my question is like, can he go to Cabo? Like, yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
Let her get to it. Let her get to it.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah. So then I started doing the books for that as well. So I'm doing the work of 17 people getting paid essentially minimum wage.
Right.
And, I had to request raises. It was really difficult. It was full-time work on part-time hours at minimum pay. And even my coworker, Steven, when I got hired on at the time, I think he was getting paid $11 an hour plus commission.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't until I got my second raise that he requested to get a raise. So I think he was getting paid maybe $14 an hour plus commission at the end of it. Something insane. Well, he wasn't very motivated anyway, so it's not like he had really great commission checks to begin with. But Steve definitely loved the fact that Steven wasn't ever requesting raises or things like that from him. The whole time I worked there was never any type of employee review. There was never any, actual employer-employee relationship. It was all way too involved. Over time, I thought that I got really close with him and Nelly. I know a lot about his personal life and his sons. And, I won't speak on what's going on with his sons because, they're uninvolved in the situation. But
right.
clearly, seeing now, I can kind of see why his sons have so many issues. At the time, I always kind of wondered what was going on, but that all kind of makes sense to me now.
Oh my gosh.
One of the questions I had asked, because, as you started to tell me about the amount of work that was expected, is, that is really typical of the youth with the mission model and the ministry model, of which Steve's roots go into, right? There's that sense of entitlement, that expectation. I know, Sharon, we experienced that under Melody Green. As far as I'm the head, and people, it's like this sense of entitlement that they have a right to kind of just serve me in all these 100%. Things. Yeah. So I had wondered if you had come in through YWAM, or if you had any faith background apart from kind of just stumbling on this ad for a job.
Yeah. No, I have a very large faith background. I'm a very faith-based person. And although I didn't have any specific interaction with YWAM, religion has always been a big part of my life. Mm-hmm. And was a big part of why I applied for that job in the first place. So, yeah. Right. Disappointing to say the least.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Sorry.
So we got close. I mean, I knew personal things about him and his life, and he knew a lot about mine. We talked a lot about stuff. Mm-hmm. And, I was going to him for advice on things. Actually, something that I forgot about was telling you about how he crashed my car.
He crashed your car?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I didn't hear this.
So, we even had to exchange insurance information. I don't, if you've been to his house, then you know about his kind of longer driveway.
Yep.
And
the trees.
And at the time I had this like little convertible Volkswagen Beetle. And so I'm coming in, in the morning to get to work, and I'm just pulling onto that long driveway, and he's in his big truck, and I guess he just didn't even look, and he just starts zipping out the garage like 50 miles an hour. And I'm already like halfway down the driveway, so there's nowhere to go. So it's a stick, so I'm like trying to like get it in reverse, and he just smashes right into me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
background, I do know that he had some speeding tickets, so a little bit of flaunting of the of basic safety for sure.
Yeah. So they actually ended up, I forget what the word is, but the car was totaled, so I had to get another.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that was interesting. But yeah, we got really close, when him and Nelly would go on trips. She would bring me back things, and, exchanging gifts and stuff. Steve and I share the exact same birthday.
Wow.
July 11th. And so, for the first year or so, it was a thing. We would celebrate together. And I discussed a lot about my family and showed him pictures, and there was just a lot, a lot of personal information shared, a lot of trust. Mm-hmm. And eventually, we ended up deciding that we wanted to move. And after talking about it, Steve and I decided, hey, we want to keep you in this position. I'm so engrossed in everything at this point.
Well, yeah, you're doing everything and doing it cheap. Where are they going to replace you,
Yeah. It wouldn't have been easy for him. And I definitely did feel stuck in a way, because I needed so much flexibility with my sons. During all of this time, one of my children was getting an ostomy bag. So I needed a lot of flexibility with being able to maybe just work during the nighttime if I needed to, or,
Right.
if I needed so many days off or not a set schedule. So I did kind of feel stuck a little bit, like I'm probably not going to be able to find a position that's as flexible as this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that didn't help my case as far as not getting paid enough. I didn't feel necessarily like I could ask too much. Like I kind of needed to be grateful in a way. That was kind of the vibe.
Right.
Grateful for the flexibility.
Right.
So yeah, anyways, I moved. And
where did you move to? You mean you left Colorado?
Yep, we left Colorado and we moved to Indiana, which was
Okay.
closer to my husband's family.
Okay, so just Midwest. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And continued to work for him. At this point I had done like a deep dive of his books and found out that the couple of girls that had worked in the position before me really had no clue what they were doing. And so I like went in and fixed a bunch of stuff, and he was able to like amend all of his taxes and like changed his tax bracket and, made all of these big changes for him.
That benefited him?
Oh, significantly.
Okay.
No appreciation really of any kind. Yes. Significant benefit. Like, for example, like if they were reporting video on demand sales versus DVD sales, they would have like the video on demand sales entered twice. So it would look like the company made sometimes double what it actually made. And so I was able to go in and correct everything. And so, let's say at the end of the year, he owed so much money. Well, now he owed like $25,000 less.
Wow.
So it was like big, significant changes for him.
Did you get a bonus or anything for that?
No.
Oh my God.
No, I did not.
That was my exact question, Sharon.
Yeah, no, I did not. And I thought that I would, but no.
Right.
Yes. And that just goes to that. You're like, if you weren't part of like the ministry kind of background that we all come from, that was expected, right?
Yeah.
Like, so we all just, it's that slave wages type of mentality. And I am pretty confident that he approached it that way too. It's like, this is, what's expected of you.
Yeah,
You're
but it's not. I'm sorry, Tracy. That's not ministry stuff. That's just fucking greedy. That's just what that is.
But he was trained in that mindset. I mean, I can say even at Last Days, we could say that's not Jesus-like, but Melody and the YWAM leaders absolutely had that attitude toward everybody who worked for them.
Yeah.
And that's where you get that, where you end up really taking advantage of people who are in specific vulnerable positions, as you're describing some of the things that you're in. And it's crummy.
Yeah.
And greedy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's how he is though. Like, if let's say he had an issue with his credit card and he would call like some big ass company like Discover, it just made me like just roll my eyes so hard. He would call them and be like, for the inconvenience, I really feel like you need to buy me dinner at a 5-star restaurant. And this Discover like representative is like, we don't do that. Like, it's just stuff like that all the time. It definitely was this sense of entitlement and deserving of things.
Yeah. So you moved. You moved and you continued working.
Yep. And at that point, Steven, my coworker, he actually decided to go remote as well. So he moved to Texas. So we're both now remote.
What year was this?
Oh, I think he probably moved not even a year after me.
Okay. And you moved when? You left Colorado when?
Let's see. Would have been maybe 2022.
Okay. 2022-ish. Okay.
2022. And he probably moved by the end of that year. And so we're both remote now. And, I'm starting to like not talk to Steve as much. There used to be like a weekly phone call where we would like go over, work stuff and catch up, family stuff. And now, we're really not talking on the phone at all. And we're texting and, responding to emails and such. But it's kind of weird. And then I realized at one point that I'm all of a sudden like, I'm not friends with him on social media at all. And I went to like tag him in something and I noticed all of his stuff was gone. So I like wasn't sure if he had blocked me or if he had like deleted his social media, which I thought was weird because we're like a film production company and I don't know, you would probably want to have a social media to, at the time we're trying to, really promote the platform and, trying to get monthly subscribers and stuff. And so I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. I didn't feel comfortable enough to ask him like, hey, did you block me? So I like didn't say anything, but I thought it was weird. And then,
Okay, so before you go any further on that, so at this time, did you have much interaction with Nelly up until the time you moved?
Yeah, no, we had great interactions. I mean, I was buying her, gifts on her birthday that were like, I remember the last one was like this set of these like special Bibles, and each one was one of the like main women in the Bible. And it was just like this really beautiful collection. And, we talked about that for a while. And then for Christmas that last year, I got her and Steve this little like plot in England. So they're like Sir and whatever, like,
yep.
They're like
Lord and Lady.
Yeah, Lord and Lady. And I just felt like I don't know, she was so sweet and stuff. But yeah, we really weren't talking a lot at that time. There was some texting and like I would send cards and stuff. And then that year actually I had sent him stuff for his birthday and he didn't even wish me a happy birthday.
Oh, and you have the same birthday. So I
texted him and was like, happy birthday, twin or something. And he was just like, thanks. He didn't even say it back. And I was just like, okay, this is the point where I'm starting to get annoyed. Like, I know that I'm being taken advantage of. I'm exhausted all the time. And I'm kind of going through some of my own medical things. And so now I'm starting to like lose steam when I'm like, he can't even wish me happy birthday. Like, I don't care about like my love language is gift giving. So I love getting gifts for people. I don't care about receiving them. I enjoy giving them, but like you could at least say, happy birthday to you too. Like now it's just like, I mean, it's just like ignorance. I don't know. It just always seems like something else was on his mind at this point. And we're well into 2024 at this point.
Just last year.
And as far as I'm concerned, everything is, normal. I know he's made trips to see his mom. I know he's made trips with Nelly, all these things. As far as I'm concerned, everything's just been operating as normal.
And as far as your work, you had said you have to get approval for payroll.
Yep.
So you do have work interactions that you've got to communicate with him.
Yep. It'd be like I'd send him an email with Steven's commission report and then both of our invoices and then any other, checks that we needed to pay. So if I was paying utilities, because I was paying for all of his bills, his health insurance, his phone bill, his credit cards. I was paying for everything. So I would send him this list of stuff and then like I would get a response of like approved. So like not a whole lot of interaction at this point.
And they never, in all of that time, were like, thank you so much for everything you do.
No.
Okay.
No.
She should be thanking them for the
having
privilege.
the job.
Thank you for allowing me to be so flexible. Yeah, that was the vibe for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, yes, there was probably like a time or two when he was like, oh, I'm so glad you're here, instead of, you know, like the shit we were dealing with before. But it was not like in comparison to what I was doing. So, yeah, I'm getting super fed up at this point, and then I get this kind of unfortunate diagnosis for myself, and I'm like, okay, you know, I've got this big surgery coming up, and we've got this ostomy stuff that we're dealing with Walker.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. So sorry.
Thank you. So I think, you know, I can't be doing this anymore. I'm like making myself physically sick. I'm just worried about work all the time. And so I told him this, and he started working on hiring someone else. We'd gone through a couple of people at this point. We had like officially hired somebody, and once they got the scope of responsibilities, they immediately said, no, thank you.
Of course they
were like, absolutely not.
And when you told them your health issues, you know, were they at least empathetic? And, you know, did Nelly know, or did they?
Bummer. Like, that was like, you know, oh, we're sad for you. There was never like, and Nelly definitely knew for sure.
So there was never like, what can we do? Can we help you?
No.
Well, and I think I had asked you too, like with your part-time work, were you qualified for health insurance? Did they pay health insurance?
Oh, absolutely not. No. There's no benefits, nothing like that. No option for bonuses. And I had some conversations with him too, where I was even maybe trying to limit the amount of work I was getting, because I did need the money at the time. And I had expressed that to him. Like, although I really don't have the energy for this, we need the money. And I know he's stacked.
Fuck yeah.
And he was like, he never offered to like help us.
Fuck yeah. He's got money. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Oh God.
And, you know, at one point I even thought like, maybe I should ask him like for some, I don't know, financial help or like, but no. If I needed extra money and I would say like, hey, can I get some extra hours? He would be like, like one or two, maybe. I'm like, well, how does that help me? An extra $20 does me nothing. Like,
oh my God.
So, you know, he continued looking for someone new, and we're now hitting about September of 2024.
So this is September of 2024, and you're 4 years in by this time. So you're 4 years working full-time work at a part-time.
Yeah.
Probably 2 years in his basement and then 2 years remote. Would that be about right?
That sounds great.
Okay. Yeah. And so, you know, in a company that small, I mean, you're intertwined.
And also, I feel like I need to specify, since I did all of his books for the last like 10 years, because I went back and fixed things.
Right.
The girl that was in the position, 2 girls before me, she was kind, but she was very focused on her looks. I'll just say that, because I don't, you know, she's not involved in this at all. But I had noticed that there were multiple times when she got bonuses, extra money here, extra money there. We're hired on as 1099 employees, so he doesn't take taxes out. I noticed for her, every year, he was paying for her taxes. He never offered to do that for me. I never got bonuses. and I'm married with children. She was not. She was very single. So I'm not going to insinuate anything, but
I will.
I can say for sure that she got a lot of handouts from him.
She probably got a lot of other stuff from him too.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that was just not ever offered to me whatsoever. So yeah, we're in September, and he hires somebody who, by the way, has a teenage daughter. She would be working remote though. And I do my first training session with her. And, I've agreed to like pass off such and such responsibilities, but like I'll still do royalties and blah, 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 whatever. So I'm training her, and I send him a text that night that's like, she seems great. I don't think she's as QuickBooks qualified as she claims, but, we'll see how the next couple of days pan out. So I'm sitting there, I'm kind of closing things out at my desk, and I get this anonymous email. And I've never really gotten an email like that before. It was like no sender. And the title was like Steve Greisen, arrest, something underage. And I'm like, oh, spam. Like, what the heck is this? I'm like, I'm not going to click on this.
That was Sharon. Like, don't click on it, Tracy. Don't click on it.
Right. Well, no, it wasn't me sending it to her. It was like when we received that, I was the same thing too.
Correct.
It's like, oh my God, this is a scam. Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
Don't touch it. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I obviously have to find out what the fuck this is about. So I'm like, Google, which like who in the right mind just like Googles their boss, just like randomly. So I hadn't ever done this before. So I delete the email, and then I go on Google and I just type in Steve Greisen, and oh my God, my world got shook. I immediately was just flooded with article after article of him being arrested a year prior.
Yeah.
And having to register and all this stuff. I mean, my chest is literally tightening just thinking about it.
Yes.
I was so caught off guard.
Well, can I just clarify something? I think he was actually arrested 2 years prior. Because if that was 2024 for you, it was 2022 that he was arrested. So 2 years.
It literally happened right after Stephen and I moved. And then, if that's the case.
That's when it happened.
Because he was sentenced in 2023. But yes, the actual arrest was in 2022.
That's insane. So yeah, we're talking 2 years.
That's so insane.
I had no idea. So first I, vigorously read through every article I can find. And then I call Stephen, my coworker, because I think I'm sharing news with him for the first time.
Right. And I just, for listeners, and I know that, I walked through this with Sharon, and we had some of the similar, like we're just going about our business. We get this kind of message. We think it's spam. We know the person that sent it to us, and so it's not spam. And just that, and we're so many years removed, right, from being involved. It was difficult, Sharon. It was so hard.
Oh, I couldn't sleep. I had nightmares. And I can't even imagine for you, because you were friends and you were working with him, and it was right then and there.
In his basement.
Yeah.
Now, when I think about that, I'm like, oh my God, I was in his basement showing him pictures of my kids. And like, I know for a fact that this could not have been his first time. Just from reading.
Wait, when you say that, you say for a fact. Tell me more. Tell me what you think.
Well, before you get into that, I would like you to continue on.
Okay, yes.
Because
we'll come back.
Yes, but I just wanted to punctuate we so appreciate how difficult this out of left field message is while you're still communicating and working. Like
devastating.
Devastating.
I mean, I had showed him pictures of my kids and told him private things about my life and myself. So, okay. So I call Steven and I'm like, I just got this email. I Googled him, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff comes up. And he's like, yeah, I know. I knew.
He knew.
I'm like, what do you mean you knew? What do you mean you knew? He's like, yeah, he told me right after it happened. And I'm like, how could you not tell me? What the fuck is going on right now? I'm freaking out. And I'm like, how are you still working for him? I don't understand. Because literally they played this off like I had no idea that something like this was going on. And I am not a naive person. I'm really not. They really played this off.
They're just good. They're just good deceivers.
So I'm hysterically crying at this point to where I'm like going, well, you know, what do you mean? And he's like, Karisten, you need to understand, like, you need to remember there wasn't actually a victim.
Oh, shit.
You need to calm down.
That's the excuse. Calm down.
There wasn't actually a victim.
Oh my God.
So I think I squawked like a dinosaur. I was like, what? What do you mean there wasn't he thought there was a victim. He went there with money in his wallet to have sex with a 14-year-old girl.
To rape a 14-year-old girl.
Disgustingness. He knew what he was doing. So I basically said something along the lines of, oh my God, you are just as disgusting as he is. You are just as bad. Don't ever talk to me again.
Can I just applaud you for that?
Yes.
Like, I just want to take a moment. And I know that there's not many people that you probably tell this story that can understand all the depth of all of this, but that was your reaction and that you said that. I just so applaud you for that.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not going to lie. He's kind of a creep anyways. So, and I hope he hears that.
Which, or both?
The one that she said that to.
Both of them. But in this case, I'm talking about Steven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that he would minimize it like that.
Right.
Tells you everything.
And then continue to work with him on such a close level. Because it was just the three of us.
On the family friendly
Yep.
company.
The family friendly platform. Yep. And Steven is the one that kind of facilitates these agreements with all of these, companies like Mardell and Christian Book. And
wow. Do you think they were disclosing at the time? I'm sure they weren't.
No, because once the agreements are signed, I'm a part of all of the facilitations with these companies. And then most conversations from there on out are with me. And I can tell you for a fact, not a single company that is working with Exploration Films or ExploreFlix knows about this.
That is just, to me, that on a business level, that is fraud. That is, it's just lacks any integrity.
I wish I had those contacts because I would contact them and I would tell them everything because they deserve to know.
They do.
I mean, Angel Studios would want nothing to do with this. HarperCollins would want nothing to do with this. It's just...
I wonder if they know now.
I hope, but I doubt it.
I mean, I think that's the timeline because I was trying, recap with Sharon and I said, yeah, I know. I think she found out in September 24. And Sharon's like, well, then that's 2 years. I'm like, maybe I have that wrong. No, maybe it was 2023 because
I went 2 years.
That is even more jaw-dropping.
That's how under the radar this was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I immediately blocked Steven. I blocked him on everything, phone, social media. And then I couldn't bring myself to call Steve because I didn't want to hear his explanation.
Mm-hmm.
So I texted him. What I did first was I just copied a link to one of the articles and I sent it to him. And I waited for him to read it, because he had like read receipt on.
Mm-hmm.
I saw he read the article, and then I texted him and just said, let's not even talk about what the article is about. First of all, let's just forget about the fact that you did this. The fact that you have as little respect for me as you do, that this is how I found out, is unforgivable. Let alone what you've done. I will never be speaking to you again. I will never do anything for you again. I have access. I will be paying myself for the duration of the payment period because I would have worked it. And it's not my fault that I'm not going to. So I'm going to go on.
So good.
I'm going to pay myself and I'm done. And that's exactly what I did. I blocked him.
Did he respond? Any response from him?
I didn't give him a chance. I blocked him on my phone and social media. Now, I will say, he has my personal email. He has my address. If he really wanted to get a hold of me, he could have.
That's right.
Correct.
He has not.
If he had any apology, if he had any integrity, if he had any sense of decency, he could send you an I'm sorry.
Correct.
But no, he hasn't, has he?
Nope. I texted Nelly. No response. I told her that my heart goes out to her, but at the same time, I cannot forgive her for putting me in this position and for what little respect any of them have for me as a human being, let alone somebody that's been in their lives.
Correct.
For this long.
So hearing you say that, and I heard, this just a couple of days ago, I am just so proud of you that this was your reaction and that you handled it, because we have been steeped in and mired just with silence from everybody that we know, and we know that they're still connected to, has been chilling silence. And it's like, where is that outrage? Where is that sense of accountability? And just hearing how you responded really helped me a lot.
Thank you.
Because I like how even in the Christian circles, even on the comments, right? Because now Julie Roy's report, and we'll post it in our show notes, finally came out and did a report, and then they followed it up with how now there's this new breaking news about second chapter of Acts concerts being loaded on the platform. And then there's some arguments in the comments. And, and a lot of them are like, this is terrible. But there's a few that go in there of now. Why is second chapter blaming for this? And it's like this argument that goes on and on without anybody taking a stand saying this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
This is I pulled it up here while we're here as far as what Exploration Films quotes as their tagline. The focus is to deliver inspiring content that elevates the culture and evokes the best in the human soul.
Yeah.
This is the place, Exploration Films, where curious truths and uncommon minds meet. So this is their platform. This is their purpose. This is their mission. This is their statement. And it's just so stunning to me. And so,
but is it?
I honestly, I applaud you, because I feel like that's the answer that that's the response everybody else should have had.
But is it stunning? Is it stunning, Tracy?
Right.
I mean, come on. These are guys that are greedy. This is graft. This is arrogant egotistical, narcissistic, everything's for me. I don't care for the people that have needs. And, I mean, what would Jesus do? Do you think Jesus would just say, yeah, let me keep all the money? I mean, everything about this. Ugh.
Yeah. And I've been hit with a couple of these guys that work with Steve, Etienne, Edwin, of you have to forgive. I mean, some of these guys went in this yacht with him after the fact.
And they knew?
And here's the thing. They're in on the yacht. And, I've had a couple of them reach out to me after the fact and say, hey, where'd you go? And I'm like, I found this out.
Are you kidding?
And they're like, oh, we didn't know that you didn't know. And I'm like, wait, so you knew?
Wow.
Well, yeah. But, one, business is business. And two, as a Christian, you have to forgive.
So convenient.
No, I don't.
That's true. No, you don't.
I do not have to forgive him for that. Well, first of all, he never even apologized.
I was going to say, he hasn't repented. Why would you forgive?
Yeah. I'm like, I don't, I mean, no, as a Christian, I need to respect my children.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, so to kind of go back on what I was saying before is I know for a fact that this is not his first time trying to solicit sex. I think this might have been the first time that he was unsuccessful. All of the places he's been and experiences he's had, how comfortable he was in this whole process.
Yeah. Finding
her, talking to her, arranging things, bringing her tip money, showing up at her house. There's no way in my mind that this was his first time. Ways that he's communicated with me in the past, other women, the way he talks.
Okay, wait, I want to pause. You want to pause on that. Ways that he's communicated with you in the past and or other women. Are you saying that kind of undertone, sexy vibe kind of hitting on? Okay.
Yes. Where everything is like that. The way he talks to waitresses, like just uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And in my heart, I know that this was just the first time he got caught.
That's what we believe too. And we didn't see it like you saw it. But as Tracy pointed out, there's no way someone's that efficient, that comfortable, knows the lingo, and is just there if it has not been an ongoing thing. Now, I want to ask you another question on this. Do you know whether or not he had any close relationships or ins with anyone in the judicial system or prosecution? Because I can't figure out why they didn't come scour all of his electronic devices for the possibility of child sexual abuse images.
He does have a lot of friends.
In high places?
Mm-hmm. I cannot say for sure, but he has enough money and I think just the right amount of friends.
To get off and not go to jail.
Yep. And even
not
travel. I can't even tell you how many places he traveled in just the last 2 years. I literally had no clue that this was happening. I went back to the date of his arrest. I was looking at our text messages, so I scrolled all the way back, and I found the date of his arrest just so happened to be a payroll day, and he never responded to me. And so I had to send him another text that said, well, I cannot pay everybody, so I need you to let me know when it's cool. And it was the next afternoon, I got the approval from him. And he said, sorry, I'm at the cabin and I don't have any service. So he was sitting in jail overnight or whatever, But yeah, he said he was at the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
And from there on out, there was no indication.
So did you ever see interactions with other underage girls that you would have been concerned about in retrospect?
No.
Okay.
Just the vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that too. I was there in God, what year was that? It would have been like 06. And, down seeing his whole work area in the basement. And there was a very attractive young woman working for him then. And I got that whole vibe right in front of me. I'm like, ooh, this is not cool. Yeah.
And these girls were not doing a good job, but that did not matter.
They might have been doing a good kind of other job.
Yeah. And I used to say to my husband, I don't understand how he's so hard on me when I'm the only one that literally did things right.
Right.
But now looking back, I'm the only one that wasn't doing what he wanted.
Oh my
I was the one that was married with kids.
Right.
It's yeah, it's been really shocking. And I know, I guess I shouldn't say I know, but I'm pretty positive that they have yet to replace me, because to this day I still get phone calls from QuickBooks and Intuit, Amazon, asking me for codes or permissions. No, I don't give it. I'm like, you shouldn't have had me. Every account's in my name. All the contact information is mine.
You know what? They are so lucky that you are honest and with integrity. That you've got more integrity than they have.
I really could have done some transfers, right?
Yes. Yes, you could have. And I guess that is, first of all, I want to ask you it's very brave, I think, to come on and be known in those circles, have your name be known in these circles, be able to give details. And I guess what's your thinking behind that as far as being able to go on record? And how are you doing? It's a two-part question. Then how are you doing since then? Because that's not very long ago that you found out.
Well, honestly, I don't care what anybody says. It's more about how I feel. And if nobody else in the room respects me, I respect myself. And good. I feel like this is how I want my daughter to respond. That, I want her to see that I value myself too much to be involved in anything like this. And if I can, Tracy, you said I kind of helped you. I feel like if I can tell anyone that, like, these people are really scummy and you really don't have to put up with it. I was telling her that although I wish that this hadn't happened, I'm really glad it happened this way, because I don't think I would have ever been able to have gotten the clean cut that I needed to really focus on myself and my family. And in this way, I'll never have to worry about anything to do with Exploration Films and ExploreFlix again. So it's like I have this weight taken off of my shoulders, and this ever present stress that I felt every day about it. And now I can literally look at it and literally never care about it again.
That's so good.
That is so good.
Glad you have that freedom.
Me too.
And I just want to say, you've really helped me too. Like, as I mentioned before, we were starting to do some prep so we could record part 2, because we have more things to say about this whole shit show.
Right.
And, and it's been it's just this weight. It's this heavy, sticky, gross crap. And when Tracy called me a couple days ago and said, guess what? And told me about you and that you were willing and wanting to come forward and speak publicly, that, you use the word emboldened, and that has really helped me too, because there are things I've thought, hey, I think there's complicity with other folks. And I'm like, oh yeah, but you better but you shouldn't really, point it out and just put it all out there. But I'm gonna now.
We should all be pointing our fingers as long and straight as we can, because
I love you.
That's right.
The fact that nobody knows, like, after this podcast comes out, we should be hashtagging Angel Studios, hashtag HarperCollins, hashtag Mardell. Like, it's just insane to me that all of this can be excused or,
And it's not just about Steve. It's about the whole surrounding people who know it.
The whole system. Yep.
Who are aware of it and have stayed completely silent.
Yes.
And that is just disgustingly unconscionable. It's awful. It's awful.
100%.
Yeah. And I think what's really interesting, because we all, the topic of our podcast is the cult sisters. And so when we've been enmeshed in that whole kind of indoctrination that we're still coming out of the forgiveness, even though intellectually we're like, this is not right. Sharon, it's still in us of like, well, these are people we love, can't be too hard.
Mm-hmm.
There's a wrestling, right? Of like, why? And
well, it's the public thing. This is what I was thinking about, Tracy.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about it when in our, when you and I are doing our next episode. But the point is, these are not private people. These are not families who have remained, that they're private and they're dealing with their own personal trauma and tragedy. Okay, yeah, they are dealing with it. But these are people who have fuckingly just put themselves out there as the paragon, as the epitome of spirituality, who have these morals to teach us, who have the right way to tell us to believe so that we don't get burned in hell forever and ever, and are going to come down on you for the lifestyle you live. And the arrogance is just, it's awful. And even when it's said in a sweet tone, and I'm thinking of some people that can say it and sing it in a sweet tone, but fuck, you have not been honest with us. What you are saying and trying to sell us is that this is the only way to have the best life possible. And this guy, part of your family, wants to rape a 14-year-old. I'm sorry. What you're selling is a crock of shit, and you're putting judgment and torment, emotional torment, on so many people. And you are such hypocrites. And I'm so pissed off. Okay, tirade over.
There is no way that my God wants me to forgive him. I just can't. I know that's like a whole nother conversation, but that just doesn't vibe with me.
Well,
also
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I also think too, if the roles were reversed and you were going through something, would those people stand up and protect you? Absolutely not.
No,
they wouldn't say, well, you have to forgive her. They would immediately do what they needed to protect their image.
That's good. It's true.
Wow.
And so to the other part, how are you doing today? And is there anything that we can offer as far as support? Because this is a hard, like, how many people can relate to you on this, right? That's a hard thing.
Yeah. I mean, I have not gotten another job. It's kind of impossible. But, and also I wonder what that would be like if I'm like, hey, let me unblock you and say, can you give me a reference? I need a reference for this job.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, we're just living life as a very happy family. I have a great, wonderful husband that is not greasy, grimy, or gross.
Oh, that's so great.
Greasy, grimy, gross Greisen. You just gave us the name. Thank you.
That mugshot of him is just the epitome of disgusting.
Yes.
You just look at him and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just could not be happier to be out of that scene. And if anybody has any problems with me coming forward, then they can happily send me a message.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your courage and your boldness and for being willing to share this with us and with all the listeners.
Thank you, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, and I just want to say one more thing. And, because when we were, going to go back and complete it, it's like, okay, it's been 2 years and a half, 2 years, I don't know, but since 2022. And I think there's been a part of me of someone's going to come out and say something, right? The dust will settle. And instead, if you Google Steve Greisen, you will find these very weird posts that are absolutely written by Steve Greisen.
Yes.
That talk about what an amazing man and what an amazing producer and how extraordinary he is, to the point that it's like, I know exactly what he's doing. He's trying to manipulate the Google search to get those to come first before the other stuff.
Yep.
Part of his sentencing is he's not supposed to be on the internet for 5 years without specific permission from his parole officer. Did you know that?
He's on the internet every single day working for Exploration Films.
Yeah, I don't even know how they manage or control, or I'm sure he got, sometimes they can put these devices on your computer that may satisfy a parole officer. I don't
You just
know.
get another computer.
My question too is did he not have to notify anybody of this? The fact that I'm working with him.
Correct.
And I have kids and I feel like there was, I don't know.
Well, you mean ethically or legally?
Legally.
I mean, ethically, yes. Fuck yeah, he needed to. Ethically, legally, I don't think so.
Unless your children were it. So part of the sentencing is he is not allowed to be unsupervised around children. So if you were still working in the basement and you ever brought your children, he
would have been in violation.
Yeah.
Which also makes me wonder, when he goes and visits his mom and his siblings are there literally 0 children involved?
Don't know, but he has to.
It's a big family.
He has to get written permission for each and every instance ahead of time. Is he doing that? Who knows? Given the way he flaunts any compliance with the law, probably not.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's a whole other thing. There's a whole lot of kids in that family. And
there is a whole lot of kids. But to the point of, and why your reaction was just so stark and so real and so good, is because by this time now, not only hasn't there been a message forthcoming, it looks like a lot of energy is spent on the exact opposite.
Right.
And there are many people complicit in that. And I think what's the most egregious is then this teaser announcement that there's on the second chapter of Act's official Facebook page, this teaser announcement of this big news coming. And I knew it wasn't going to be a confession because it was being, poised as exciting news. And I was like, well, this is not exciting news. But for them to then say that they have dropped, the whole library and catalog of the second chapter of Act's concerts.
Well, not dropped it. They're now providing it.
Streaming it, yeah.
On
so
the
they've
platform.
finally made it available on the streaming platform, and that's
but you
the
have
exciting
to pay
news.
to get a
but
subscription.
You have to pay to get a subscription,
right?
And there is some comments on that. They're like, "Why do we have to pay to get this? Why can't you post these to YouTube?"
Money, money, money.
Exactly.
But that is, yes, a very concerted rollout of still trying to keep this platform going, and then sullying the ministry of second chapter of Acts. All it does is just sully that legacy.
But maybe there's a little greasy grime there too, because, You know, they've got a yacht fleet to build and buy and invest in, and if it gets them more money,
Just thinking about how literally he was working on that for the last 2 years while all of this was going on is just mind blowing to me, and also goes to show how seriously he took that, because it's like he got arrested and then the next week is like, I'm going to buy a yacht in Cabo.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So he's really taking it seriously.
Yeah. And so I love your point your finger long and straight, because yes, it's been a huge cover up, and it continues to be. And these will continue if people are not called to account. So
we'll do our part.
Yes. Is there anything else that you haven't said that you wanted to say, or?
I don't think so.
I'm curious, how did you find our podcast?
I was on a bender one day. I went through a rabbit hole of Steve Greisen and came across your podcast. And I feel like the one thing that really like triggered me was how I feel like we found out the exact same way.
Right.
Although I can't confirm who sent me the email. I think it was the person that we had hired, because she ended up having a teenage daughter. And later that night, she had sent me a screenshot of her, you know, basically quitting and telling him, like, we don't share the same values. And so I can't say for sure, but I feel like it makes sense that she like just got hired and was like, oh, I'm going to Google, you know, the company, Googled the boss. She saw it, sent it to me, and then quit. But I guess I cannot confirm that. Otherwise, at first, you know, I was like, I wonder if like Nelly is doing this. But now I really don't think so.
No. And I will say this, if you're pretty sure, because you caught the vibe in person a bunch, that this is not the first time Steve has done something, you know for sure Nelly knows that vibe.
Yeah.
You know that she has awareness. And I can say that's horrible and awful, and there's a certain status of victimhood for her in that. But you know what? You got a husband who's out there trying to fuck kids. You have some responsibility.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And if you've known that there's been an issue going on and on and on and on for years of a lack of morality and a lack of ethics, you know, you're complicit. I'm sorry, you're complicit.
She really is at this point. I mean, it literally would have taken her, let's say she didn't even want to have a conversation with me. She could have wrote me a note and sent it in the mail, you know, just to be like, oh, you were in our lives and like we've loved you and we're so sorry that we didn't tell you. And I just feel like you said, at this point, she is just, I don't know. She's maybe not directly involved, but I can tell you that there's no way that my husband would be doing stuff like that, and I wouldn't know, and then I wouldn't do anything about it. So, yeah, unfortunately, she's kind of teamed up on the wrong side.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Well, Tracy, once again, you pull rabbits out of hats.
and this has been probably the two most demanding days in other areas of my life.
Really?
That, like, I literally ran in the door, gobbled food down, tried to set this up and get going, because it's been back-to-back meetings for me.
Oh, yeah. Work is insane, but yeah.
But this was so important, and I definitely wanted to get her story recorded.
Yes. And oh my God, I love what she said. What was it? Greasy, grimy, gross, Greisen.
I knew you would like that, because it's all the alliteration that you love handed up to you without you even having to take the fall for it.
I didn't have to think it up. It was just there. But I also want to say, my hope is, I don't know, is it my hope or is it whatever? I believe 100% there are victims out there. There are women, maybe young girls that he came on to that have experienced the attempted, whatever, the grooming, the creepy, sexy sleaze vibe thing that she's talking about. Like I said, I witnessed it. I witnessed it myself. And I'm hoping, Tracy, folks, put the call out far and wide. If you or anyone you know had a situation with Steve Greisen that is total hypocrisy compared to what he is trying to sell to everyone else, or if there was a crime committed, you can be anonymous, but come forward, because we need to expose these charlatans, these grafters, these hypocrites. We need to expose them. Well,
do you mean grifters?
It's graft, isn't it?
I think
or is
it's
it
grifting.
grifters?
You said it one other time, and I
did? Oh, wait, let me look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
Let's see. Grafter, a person who combines plants by inserting buds. Oh, wait, no. The second definition, a person who obtains money or other advantage by dishonest, unfair, or illegal means. So it's especially through the abuse of position or influence in politics, business, etc. Okay, yeah, so it's both.
Okay, yeah. So are you reading grifter or grafter right
Grafter.
there? The second one. Because a grifter is a person who engages in petty or small-scale swindling. I saw him as a grifter.
Okay, wait.
So
it works with the alliteration. Greasy,
yes.
grimy, gross, grifter, grafter, Greisen. Say that 5 times fast.
Certainly does work with both.
Oh my God. Okay,
yeah.
woman. Well, we're going to have a lot to talk about in our next episode, but we better sign off here.
And we're going to sign off, and we're back. So make sure that you peek into our Instagram at Instagram.feetofclay. What is our Instagram?
Oh my God, it's been so long you can't remember. I don't know. You look it up. In the meantime, we do have our Facebook community, Feet of Clay. No. Oh my God, it's not even that. It's Confessions of the Cult Sisters - community.
Oh, Jesus.
How pathetic are we?
We're so old. So it is feetofclay.cultsisters. That's what happens when you have too many names. Yeah, so check out our Instagram.
Okay.
I am starting to post, and we are going to bring them to our website, but the ministry updates from the Last Days newsletter magazines of all the back issues we have, and there's some gems of reads in there. So go on the Instagram. It's in the post stories where you can actually blow it up, and then eventually it will be on our website, and I'll let you know when. But it's a fun walk down memory lane, and sometimes a cringe walk down memory lane.
Excellent. All right, Tracy, you need to get back to work, and I need to go start editing. So
okay.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for your patience waiting for us to get this whole thing rolling again. And we'll see you next time around.
All right. Bye-bye.